Hey YouTube, Belton here. Today I'm going to start a new series called Ask Belton. Yesterday I posted a video on how to craft a quadruple or triple flat damage ring, and there was lots of good feedback on that. However, there seemed to be a divide in the comment section about the length of the videos I do. I try to be thorough so that there's enough information for you guys to act upon. Half of you seem to like that, half of you don't. However, another thing that happens all the time, aside from that sort of duality, is that I get asked how to craft certain things. And so I'm going to start a new series now based on comments left on every video. So if you want to learn something, leave a comment below and I'll pick one at random. And I will make a quick video, a redux on how to craft that item. So yesterday we have a comment left saying, how about wands with 100% crit chance? Bro, I'm having a hard time to craft them. Congratulations, K.E. Kun. You are the first winner. I'm not going to read your full name because if Twitch has taught me anything, that allegedly will constitute a hate crime. But K-Con, we'll go with that. We are going to show you how to craft a 100% crit chance wand. Now, you weren't specific in this, and so there are a couple of variants that you have here. I'm going to show you how to make the one that I have on the screen right now with tier 1 spell damage, tier 1 lightning damage, damage is extra lightning, tier 1 cast speed, tier 1 critical hit chance for spells, and +5 to lightning spell skill gems. And I will do as brief of a job as I can here, just to make this nice and quick for you guys, so those of you who just want the information can get it as you wish. You can see I've got a couple different variants here with the T1 spell fracture, +5 fracture, T1 lightning fracture, T1 spell hybrid fracture, and this one's got triple tier 1 prefixes with spell mana and lightning. And so I actually crafted a mirror wand last league as well. And so I have done this in a real world scenario without fractures as well. So this is actually something I'm quite familiar with. This was the first perfect mirror wand ever made in Path of Exile 2, and this is the one that I did. In this situation here, that mana regen could be swapped to crit without any risk of losing any other progress. So I'll show you through that here quickly. Now, some of these strategies, or the strategy I used previously, does change a little bit because of the presence of fractures. So what you're going to want to do is look for a wand that has +5 to lightning skills on it, and one that also, like at the same wand, look for one that has tier 1 spell damage on it. Now, what you're going to want to do is get this, obviously, to 4 mods if you can. But if you see one for sale that has 6 mods, just go for the fracture anyway as it sits and don't try to annul any of them off. Obviously, because you've got +5 as a suffix and spell damage as a prefix. But if you can get a 4 modded one, just go ahead and fracture it, and boom, there you go. That's exactly what we want. Now, you could also go for a fracture on the lightning spell skill gems, and I'll try and touch on that afterwards. But the reason why that you want to go on the spell damage is because if you take a look at the modifier lists right here, so prefixes and suffixes that are on a wand, you can see that the wand has lightning damage at item level 81, spell damage at 80, and then it's got the damage as extras all at 80, right? And because you just want to get the lightning one, and these two others would therefore, quote-unquote, break or put at risk the spell damage, if you fracture the spell damage and you keep the +5 on there previously, and as an FYI, you don't actually have to find a wand, because especially after this video gets released, I'm sure it'll be difficult to find one with both. You could just find a wand that has just the spell damage, and then you can chaos the +5 lightning afterwards to get it into this state as well. So that's an option as too. But yeah, so by fracturing the spell damage, that means that you won't have to potentially lose that at any point. And because you'll also have the +5 to lightning skills on there, that means that the only percentage damage type you'll be able to hit will be lightning percent damage. So if you took it look at the overall mod list, this 12,750 weighting, which includes cold, lightning, chaos, spell, and spell physical, it won't be possible to hit any of those except for the lightning damage. Furthermore, doing the prefixes first is important because the weighting on the lightning damage tier 1 and the spell damage tier 1 is actually a 50, right? Whereas the +5, which we are going to get off the beginning, is a 100, and then cast speed is a 250 weighting, and spell crit is a 125 weighting. Now, that's from a total pool of 41,000 on the prefixes and 73,000 on the suffixes. But if you've seen my ladder crafting video, you know that we basically want to make progress without having to revert back. And that's going to be possible with this method while optimizing our chances for success and minimizing the risk and cost associated with it. In fact, there's 0 risk at all if you do it this way. So if you take a look here, we've now got that spell damage fractured and the +5 is on there. So the spell damage obviously can't be changed because of it's fractured. And then the lightning damage, the lightning spell skills is item level 81. which along with the percentage lightning is the highest item level modifier. And so that's actually going to be impossible to whittle away. Now from this stage, we're just going to have to use whittles. And fun enough, at this stage, it's actually going to be impossible for us to brick it, because eventually we are, and I'll try and speed through this. There you go. We hit the lightning or damage as extra lightning, right? This is item level 80. And so the only other prefix that we could hit here that is of equal or higher item level are the other damage as extras. However, the percentage lightning, which we would eventually hit, because it's such a low weight, I want to actually do it in front of you because I want to make this quickly. But there we go. So the lightning damage will be hit, and it'll be impossible to roll away because this is now item level 81. This is fractured, and so even if this ends up being a different damage as extra, you'll be able to always, at any point you want to, use a whittling and like a sinestral erasure. There we go, and we get it back to lightning with that point. And now, depending on what your suffixes are, you might just have to use a whittling. Now, with respect to the suffixes, the +5 to lightning spills is item level 81, and so that'll always be the highest, along with the lightning damage, or lightning percentage. And then after that, we want the cast speed. If we take a look here, cast speed is the second highest, with a item level 80. Obviously, once you get the lightning spell skills, it makes it so that you can't hit any of these ones. And so if we hit cast speed, there are no other suffixes that are of equal or higher item level, which means the third suffix can be deterministically rolled, and you can pick whatever you want with that. I showed you a minute ago the one that I was using from last league, which was, I believe, mana regen. There we go. There's the cast speed. And now you'll see no matter what, if I click, we can change that to crit bonus, or we can go, there it is, T1 spell crit. And voila, we're done. Now, I did mention that if you want to get the crit damage, crit bonus instead of cast speed, you can still use this fracturing strat. However, the only difference is that you should not put at the beginning when we started it off, rather than having it at a place where we had 6 modifiers on it. If you just keep it to 5 modifiers, where's this? One-handed weapons, wand, boom, boom. So at that point, we would have the spell damage, tier 1 fractured, and we would have the +5, right? And again, you don't have to get both of them on. If you can get a rare one that has both of them already and then hit the fracture on the spell, that's great. If not, you can just, again, fracture the spell damage and then chaos on the lightning skills. And so here, at this point here, rather than bringing it to a full 6 modded item, just bring it to 5 mods. And if you do it like this, again, it's going to end up at the same thing where you'll eventually hit the, oh, there it is. We hit the lightning damage, right? Now watch what happens. There's the damage and lightning skills, and voila. You see that? Because of how we've set it up, this can never be changed because it's the highest. This can never be changed because it's the highest. This can always be rolled into damage as extra lightning because it is the lowest prefix. And then this one right here, since this is now always going to be the lowest modifier, unless it hits cast speed, in which case, because cast speed will be the same as the damage as extra lightning. If it hits tier 1 cast speed when there's 5 mods like this, I'll just artificially put that on just so we can see what I'm saying here. Boom, boom. So if we rolled that into cast speed like that, all you would do, because these are the same item level, you just use a whittling plus a dextral erasure there, and then now you can just switch back to whittling after changing it one time. And so what you're going to want to get there, obviously, is your tier 1 spell crit, which again I'll just put on here artificially. Boom. Now the reason for doing it like that, for going about the crit bonus, is because you'll be using so many whittlings in the process of going for this. If you fill out that final suffix, because the crit bonus is a lower item level, it's only item level 73. And so if you take a look at the overall mods, you've got chance to shock, freeze, build up, chance to ignite, enemy or life gain for enemy killed, meta gain for enemy killed, mana regenerate. Oh, basically every mod has a potential for a higher item level. And so if you do it this way, you can get it 5-2-1 first, and then you can go for it right like this, right? And so it at least gives you a chance to be able to get one. Oh my god, look at that. Boom. I know it's tier 2 crit bonus, but there you go, right? Now, another way you can go about that as well is that instead of, because you don't actually need to fracture spell damage, you can fracture the +5. It's just that it's going to make the prefixes a lot more expensive, and because spell damage and lightning damage are both 50 weights, that can make that rather difficult. Also, you'll potentially risk the spell damage. Like if you were insistent, for example, on getting, in fact, I'll just restart this to show you what I mean. If you were insistent upon having the damage is extra lightning, for example. So where is it? +5 lightning spell skills. Boom. And then, so we've had that fractured. All right, so if we had that fractured, right, we could then chaos to get, we could go with one mod, and you could just chaos this to get lightning damage, or lightning percentage. Or you could even try to go suffixes first if you wanted, but because the weightings of the prefixes are 50 out of 40,000 on both spell and lightning, the amount of like sinestral annuls and exalts and shit that would cost, it would just cost you way more. And so if you do fracture that, you would want to chaos into, definitely want to chaos into the, in fact, sorry, I'll just artificially do this again. You would want to chaos into the lightning damage percentage so that you were sitting there like this. Right, and then afterwards you would go for, you know, if you were to fill it out and then just go for the same thing basically, right? You would eventually hit your tier 1 spell damage, right? But because in that situation your tier 1 spell damage would be of equal item level to, let's say, damage is extra fire or damage is extra cold. Right, if you had either one of those prior to having the spell damage, when you hit the spell damage, you would risk losing it. Now, one thing you can do as well is go for, like, just keep it to 3 modifiers, and that way you can ensure that the spell damage is the first one that you hit, right? And so if you kept it at 3 mods here, like this, oops, and then just use Whittlings, right? You could ensure that that would eventually go to hitting the spell damage, right? And then you could do the an additional exalt and go for your damage as extra lightning. But again, Craft of Exile shows it that you can't hit either of these. But I mean, look, if you look on the trade site, it's very obvious that it can have both of them. In any case, though, oh, sorry, I just fucked this up. Yeah, in any case, you can go about it either way if you'd like. It is significantly better, in my opinion, to fracture the spell damage, though. It does make it harder to go for crit chance, crit bonus. In my opinion, the cast speed is far more efficient of a modifier than the crit bonus is anyways, because like on jewels, you can get 40% spell crit bonus on a regular jewel. Not to mention you can get time lost ones with double crit bonus suffixes as well added to notables. So it shouldn't be too difficult to get that. I know cast speed comes in a great quantity on the rings. And as well as perhaps on a foci or focus. But I do think the focus, I think crit bonus is the preferred one anyways there. And it only goes up to 32. I suppose the crit bonus only goes to 34 on it as well. Either way, there's a couple options there. But to keep this short, if you do want me to kind of follow through and do another version of this, where I do it with the crit bonus instead, because I'll try and keep this under 15 minutes, so it's sort of like a redux version. But yeah, if you want to get the lightning damage, spell damage, and again, we'll do the if you want to get a wand like this, as we just did there, I do recommend, again, first thing you want to do, fracture the spell. Then if you're able to, fracture a spell that already has +5 on it. If you're not able to find one that has that, then after you fracture the spell damage, then you can chaos the +5. And then after that, you are just going to, if you're going for cast speed, fill out the suffixes entirely, and you can just go ahead and basically spam whittle, and it'll, honestly, you don't even have to you don't even have to pay attention. It'll actually fill itself out. You could literally sit there and close your eyes, and it would eventually fill itself out, because the +5 would be kept at all times. The lightning will eventually roll in the prefix, and then the third suffix will be item level 80, or sorry, third prefix will be item level 80, so the damage is extra. Then cast speed will be item level 80, and so the eventual mod that will always be rolling will be the final suffix. And so you can literally always guarantee, if you fracture spell damage, that you get spell damage, T1 lightning damage, 30% damage is extra, +5, tier 1 cast speed, and then that final mod can be rolled to whatever you want. But again, to save time, because we're coming in just under 15 minutes now, that's how you go about doing that. So again, guys, new series. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. If you want any crafting advice, or if you have something that you want to learn how to craft, leave some comments below. I'll pick one at random and we'll make another video series. All right, guys, if you enjoy this short format, please consider subscribing if you're new to the channel, and I'll be back with you guys with some more. All right, take care, fellas.